guys, welcome to today's Big Brother 19 updates and spoilers. Our house guest today is Robin Yesmi. Thank you so much for your support, Robin. She's been around for a while and we really appreciate it. So if you guys want to be house guests today like Robin, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. So we have a lot to talk about. Last night, Ramses was evicted by a vote of 7-3. Paul won his second HOH of the season, and Julie was freaking shook when Jess was like, I got the last temptation, and she dropped some maybe not so true information about it. She was like, yeah, Cody and I are safe for the next few weeks, so like, whatever. So, we know that as a result of Jess accepting the temptation, there will now be a temptation competition coming up. I want to call it the TC. Is that cool? We're going to call it the TC from now on. So that's going to be going on for 3 weeks. The winner of that, you get to choose if you're going to compete in this or not. The winner of that TC is going to be safe for the week. And whoever comes in last place is going to be the third nominee for the week. And if the third nominee wins the power of veto, there will not be a replacement nominee. So good to know. All right. So after the feeds came back on, after the live show, Paul is trying to justify voting out Ramses to Jess and Cody. They're all in the Apple Lounge, and he's telling them, you put up Josh for emotional reasons, but people wanted Ramses out for game reasons. Ramses won $25,000. No, that was Kevin. And Ramses wasn't loyal to anyone. That's because no one would take him in. That's so sad. So Cody's like, yeah, those reasons are fine, but if you had told us, we could have been a part of it. That's really rich coming from Cody. Does he forget what he did on his first HOH? Come on. All right. So then Paul's like, well, it was a last minute decision. We saw that Ramses was studying hardcore and Josh sucks at competition. So we decided like, whoa, we should get rid of Ramses. So again, Jess is saying like, oh, it's fine. She says that she's more upset that 7 people lied to her about their votes. She's not okay with that. So then Mark busts in and he's like, am I in trouble? He always asks that like 5 minutes after the HOH competition. Can you be less subtle? I don't think so. So again, Paul is saying, because Mark is nervous that he was left out on this vote, Paul's saying it was a last minute thing. We kept you guys in the dark to make sure that Ramses would go smoothly. We didn't want any craziness, anybody trying to campaign for him. So that's that. So then Jess is like, all right, that's all fine, but you need to keep your dog on a leash. She's talking about Josh because she does not want another unpleasant week. So Paul's like, Josh is not my dog. He doesn't listen to me. That's hilarious because Josh will do anything Paul says. So he's like, yeah, he doesn't listen to me. I told him not to poke and prod you guys. Okay, I told him not to. Which is half true because he told Josh don't start anything during the week because he wanted Josh to act all sad and stuff. But then he was telling him in the last day or two, once you're safe, you know, and we have the next HOH, you just go to town on Jess and Cody. Have fun with it. Okay, so then Elena, Mark, and Cody were in the bathroom. Elena is pissed. Mark is also really upset that Elena won't even look at him. Mark says, I've become an outsider, but I guess this is what I deserve. I turned my back on you. I turned my back on Dom. He's saying this to Cody. And Elena says, Dom is a C word. And a lot of times you guys ask me, like, what's C word? I'm talking about see you next Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So then Mark is like, all right, Elena, are you going to stay away from me too? And Elena says, I'm actively choosing not to speak to anyone right now. So she's really upset that she was blindsided by this vote. But she knew it was coming. She wasn't exactly blindsided. But she's more upset that nobody told her how they were voting, honestly. So then swap out Elena for Matt here. Matt is giving Mark and Cody the same justification that Paul did. It wasn't personal, blah, 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 last minute. Okay. So then Paul has a quick chat with Kevin and Jason in the have not room, and he tells them, like, he gets them up to speed on what he told Jess and Cody so that everybody's stories are matching up. So then he's like, I'm not sure that Jess actually has this temptation. He wants to put Jess and Cody up on the block. If they have it, at least they'll know for sure that it's out there, and then he can come up with some other plan. But Paul says he's not going to freaking back down because of what Jess said. He's going for it. So anyway, I guess Elena will talk to Paul because they were chatting in the Rose bedroom. She'll make an exception for him. So Elena's like, I'm fine with what happened. I'm just really upset that people I'm working with excluded me. I'm working on my Elena voice. So Paul's like, I couldn't tell you for a few reasons. Number one, it could have gotten back to Jess, and that wouldn't have been good. So Elena's like, what, you don't trust me? And Paul's like, yeah, I do, but no. He has a feeling Elena would have told Mark about it. Mark would have told Cody, and then of course Cody would have told Jess. So anyway, he's also saying he couldn't tell her because Elena was really close to Ramsey. She has a lot of disdain for Josh, and Elena's still saying, you could have told me. She's really upset that she was left out, and she's worried about her position in the house now because her own allies weren't talking game with her for like days. So she's freaking out about that. So then Mark, Cody, and Jess come in, and more explanations from Paul, and Mark was just like, I wouldn't have told me either. I know. Okay, so Mark and Elena are both asking Paul, do we have anything to worry about with you this week being HOH? And Paul's like, no way, come on, what are you talking about? Okay, so then people were just like running all around the house with their rehearsed justifications. Everybody's saying the same thing pretty much. And the reaction from the people that were blindsided is pretty similar too. They're all just like, we don't care. We didn't have any emotional attachment to Ramsey's. Oh, that's so mean. But they're saying they were more upset about the blind side. Anyway, Elena and Jess are really pissed at Matt and Raven especially because Jess is saying even if this was a last minute thing, which she knows that it wasn't because Kevin spilled the beans earlier, she's saying Raven definitely lied to her face because she told her right before the live show that she was voting out Josh. So she figures she would have known by then that she was voting out Ramsey. So that's BS. So at one point when Elena and Mark were in the rose bedroom, Matt and Raven came in there, and Raven like freaking awkwardly kissed Mark and Elena on their cheeks, and Matt was like, oh, Elena, are you accepting licks? Because it's some sort of inside joke that Matt is Elena's dog and he like licks her every day or something, and Elena's just like, no. So then Mark asks Elena for a kiss, and she says no. She doesn't want anyone touching her when she's upset. She was really pissed that Raven came over to her and kissed her on the cheek. She was not happy about that. It was like super awkward. So then the feeds cut for a little while Jeff interviewed Ramsey's, and Ramsey was claiming that he was campaigning his butt off the last week. I don't remember seeing that. Maybe it was one of those things where it feels like a lot more in your head than it actually is, because I didn't see a whole lot of campaigning from him. Did you guys? Let me know. Alright, so then back to what's going on in the house. Mark and Jason had a game chat in the Apple Lounge, and Mark is saying again, I don't care about the vote, that's in the past, but he's asking Jason, are we still good? Jason says, yeah, of course. What? So then Mark asks if his name is being brought up at all, and Jason's like, no. Which is hilarious because everybody was talking crap about Mark last week. So Jason tells him everybody's gunning for Cody right now, but if they do actually have safety for the next few weeks, I don't know what's gonna happen. So Mark is like, do you think people will come after me because of my association with Cody? And Jason says, yeah. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And he says, if Paul does put you up, we'll just work calmly, it'll be fine, nobody's coming for you, except for like a lot of people. So honestly though, as much as people are talking crap about Mark, the target list is supposedly Cody, then Elena, then Jess, and then Mark. So he's not really the target for a while, but people are definitely mentioning his name. So then there were 4 sour grapes in the rose bedroom. Seriously, Elena's face all last night was just like, she was pissed. So Jess, Cody, Mark, and Elena are hanging out, and Jess is like, tell me this. Why would they say that leaving you out of the vote wasn't a personal thing, but then they were also being wishy-washy with you about studying for the HOH and like not giving you all the right answers? Like, what's the deal with that? Because they're lying to you. How do you not see that? Oh my god. You guys are on the outs. Duh. Okay, so then Elena says that she plans on being a C to everyone. but super subtly, like turning people's food down and like eating other people's food and blah blah blah. Who cares? But she feels like it's okay to lie to people now because look at what just happened to her. She's pissed. So Cody brings up, he's a little bit surprised that people didn't even try to lie about their votes after the fact. Like, sure, they lied before the vote, but then he was expecting people to not own up to it, and they were just like, yeah, we voted out Ramses, whatever. He wasn't expecting that. So then Elena leaves this group to sit in the kitchen and make people feel awkward. Blah, 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 blah. Don't you love when air quotes go on like forever? It's weird. So then Mark is still in there with Jess and Cody, and he's like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm not really worried this week. You were just on the wrong side of a huge vote. But he's like, I don't think Paul's gonna try and split up me and Elena. I don't think he would do that because he and Elena are really close, and it would upset Elena if I was up on the block. Okay. Anyway, Jess is like, I don't know, I just have a feeling like maybe he'll want to get out Josh before the jury. She thinks that that's what the House want Paul to do. What? Oh my god, how out of touch are you? Okay, so then Paul and Kevin were chatting in the Apple Lounge, and Paul is still really skeptical about Jess's temptation. He thinks like, yeah, she probably did get the temptation, but he said, how would she be able to protect two people for multiple weeks? There's like no way that that's what it is. No freaking way. So he's saying if she did have that power, then how come she was up on the block last week? You know, she wouldn't have been able to go up on the block. It just doesn't make sense to him. So then he's like, I'm going to put up Jess and Cody. I'm going to call their bluff. It's the same thing he was saying earlier. And he says if they can't be nominated, he'll just put up Mark and Elena. Who freaking cares? So then Kevin's like, oh yeah, that's a good move. You're a good player. Oh, Kevin. So Mark comes in and he's like, oh, sorry, Paul is asking Mark, do you know anything else about the temptation? And Mark is like, well, I asked Jess about it, and she said that she couldn't tell me. Great, you have so much information to share. So then Elena joins them a few minutes later. Paul's going on and on about how Jess must be lying about the temptation, and he's saying Big Brother would never give somebody protection until jury. It wouldn't happen, that's a fact. Obviously, he did not watch Big Brother Canada last season. Right, Netta? What? Okay, so Paul is also insulted that Jess was saying what she said to Julie in front of everybody because she's like assuming that Paul was going to put them up. He definitely feels like she was directing that towards him as some sort of intimidation thing. Yes. And he's like, what the hell? We were supposed to have a deal. Why does she think that I would put them up? Come on, he's been planning on putting them up for a long time. No way he was actually going to stick with that. But he's claiming he wasn't going to put them up. So then Paul lies to Mark and Elena and says that he doesn't know what he's going to do this week. So then eventually it's just Mark and Elena alone in the room, and he's like, I just want to give you a hug. Can I give you a hug? And she's like, don't effing touch me. What do you not understand? She doesn't want to be touched right now. Okay, so then it was time for Paul's HOH room reveal. He got a nice Pepperdine sweatshirt, avocado socks, flame socks. His music was Radiohead. He got a funky bathing suit, family photos, including a beardless one, and lots of yummy snacks. And to top it all off, he got a letter from his cousin slash best friend who just got married. And he was a little bit emotional because he missed the wedding. Aww. Alright, so then Cody and Paul had a game chat in the HOH room. This is pretty interesting. Cody's like, so I just want to say something about Mark real quick. I thought maybe he was going to throw him under the bus, but he didn't. He said, when I came back into the house, Mark and I kind of reestablished things, and I asked who his interests were in the house, and Mark said that he wanted to protect me, Elena, and Paul. So he's saying for what it's worth, Mark has been right there for you this whole time. Like, he does not want to go against you. So Paul's like, okay, cool, cool. Then he's asking, do you have anything to tell me about the temptation? Cody's like, I can't talk about that. It's not, you know, it's not my thing. I can't talk about it. So Cody is then telling Paul, like, I want you to know, I would gain nothing by attempting the same move that I made in the past. Like, that would just be petty. What is people... Come on, man. That's exactly what you were planning to do. And everybody knows it. So then Paul is like, yeah, well, there's a lot of weird stuff going on right now that I just kind of want to dig into. So whatever happens this week, Just let me do my work. And Cody's like, yeah, that's fine. Jess and I are just chilling this week. So Cody leaves, and after he leaves the room, Paul's just like, idiot. Okay. So moving on. Raven and Matt were in the HOH room with Paul. Same stuff. Paul does not believe what Jess has been saying about her temptation. I believe Matt was eating cereal at the time also. That's just worth noting. No, it's not. He's always eating cereal. And then he tells them he's putting up Jess and Cody. Mark and Elena are the backup plan, blah, blah, blah. He has a similar discussion with Christmas, also with Alex. And he also tells Alex that he trusts her more than the others, like Matt and Raven. And he says that nobody's figured out their secret alliance yet. I am really curious to know what Paul's actual, like, trust list is. I feel like Kevin is pretty high up there. I honestly don't know who else is up there. It's tough to say, because he's pretty good with everybody right now, except for, like, Cody and Jess. But even Mark and Elena are like, Paul, I love you. Okay, so then Paul has a one-on-one with Elena, late night chat, and this went on for quite a while, but he's definitely still trying to drive that wedge deeper between Elena and Mark. So Elena's saying there's not much she can do about this when Mark is so attached to her. She can't just tell him to go away for the rest of the game. That's not really gonna happen. So Paul is telling her, like, alright, but just be careful because perception, blah blah blah. So Paul tells her, you're not in danger with me as the HOH, but I might use you as a pawn. But again, you're not in danger. So he tells her he's gonna be calling a bluff tomorrow, and they're gonna have to see what happens with that. And for that reason, like, she could be going up on the block if it doesn't work out. Alright, so then after all of his meetings, Paul dissects his game for the live feeders, and basically he's like, yeah, I'm Puppet Master, what's up? Alright, I mean, he honestly has been so far. I can't fault him on that. So this morning, Big Brother finally revealed the curse to the house guests while the feeds were down, and they now know about the temptation competition, the TC. So the house guests are all trying to explain it to each other. Some of them didn't quite get it, and they're discussing, like, who's going to compete this week and who's not. Kevin's like, I'm not doing that. Nor should he. He's fine. So then Alex and Jason are saying they do want to compete because they want to keep other people from winning, and they're not worried about coming in last place. Mark would like to go for it. Paul actually asks Matt to go for it. He's like, I want as many of our people in there as possible to keep other people from winning it. And he says, even if you lose, you're going to be fine. We have the numbers to keep you safe. And plus, you'll still have a shot at the power of veto. And that'll keep somebody else from competing for the veto. Maybe somebody that we don't necessarily want to play in the veto. And then Matt's response is, yes, whatever my master commands will be. He didn't say it like that, but he's like, yeah, of course, I'll do whatever you want. Alright, so then Cody and Jess had a bit of a disagreement today. He was really encouraging her to go tell Paul that if he puts either of them up on the block this week, his HOH is going to be a waste. And Jess is like, no, I'm not going to go talk to Paul right now. That's going to make us look so weak. He'll know that I can only use it once. No, we need to keep this information to ourselves and keep people freaking out and on their toes. So she thinks that they can get through this week without using it. I don't think so. But Cody's like, I don't know. I think I'm probably going to be nominated, so I'd like to play in the temptation competition. And Jess is like, no, that's going to send the wrong message because then it's going to look like you're not safe. So she's saying we really need to keep it cool, play it cool. She feels like Paul is targeting somebody else this week. What? Come on! She said, like, she's been ignoring her intuition lately and it's gotten her in trouble, so now she wants to stick with it. Girl, you're wrong this time! Okay, so then the feeds went down just before noon for the temptation competition. We don't know yet exactly who is competing. They didn't have, like, an official list before the feeds went down. But if you guys want to check back later for the winner and the loser, we'll post that in the info for the spoiler. And I want you guys to give it up for Mom because she's going to be doing tomorrow's spoiler. I hate missing work, but I'm going to my friend's bachelorette weekend, so I'm going to be away tomorrow. But I'll be keeping up with it all, so don't worry about that. And then I'll be back on Sunday. So I'll see you guys then. Seriously, tell Mom what a great job she's doing in the comments. And until tomorrow for Mom. Much love.